The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mohammed Bello, says 17 years after privatization, most federal government assets were yet to be sold. The minister made the disclosure when he appeared before the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee to investigate abandoned federal government properties in the FCT. This investigative hearing will focus on abandoned federal government property within the FCT, and the intention is to determine exactly how many are they, where they are located, the reasons for the abandonment, and the options for recovery, reviving and revitalizing these assets to the benefit of the Nigerian people. Reasons why the FCT minister is assuring the ad hoc committee that his administration will make available necessary documents to assist the panel to make it work easy. Take two. To make it work easy in the ongoing exercise to identify all federal government abandoned properties. Bello says despite the federal government's directives to sell its assets through the Bureau of Public Procurement, 17 years later, nothing has been done. He, however, promised to make available all relevant documents in the FCT to assist the committee.
All the relevant agencies of the Federal Capital Territory Administration have been directed to provide access to all documents, particularly taking into account that the policy of the sale of government assets, particularly residential houses, to occupants was signed way back in 2005. That's about 17 years ago. So obviously in many of these institutions, there are challenges with institutional memory, with archival materials, and the whole process of documentation. And that's why, like you rightly said, 17 years after this policy, quite a number of these assets are not yet sold. And as a matter of fact, some of them are not even fully documented, as I got to be aware based on some of the information the committee gave me. To assure you that you have the full support of the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
Managing Director of the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, Adebayo Fagbemi, says his company was created to take over the assets of PHCN after privatization in 2023. He further said some of the assets were sold and proceeds used to settle severance packages of workers.
In the wisdom of government, as at that time, they decided to ensure that the non-core assets and the liabilities of the defunct PHCN in terms of employees, assets, liabilities, and other obligations through a transfer order 2010 were shared among 4 agencies of government, namely the Electricity Management Services, that is being referred to today as NEMSA, the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, that is being referred to today as NAPTIM, the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, that has been referred to today as MBED, and also the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, that has been referred to as NEMCO. So that transfer order shared the assets and liabilities of the defunct PHCN into these 4 entities.
Earlier, while declaring the sitting open, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, who was represented by Honorable Henry Nwanwuba, and the chairman of the committee, Honorable Gaza Gwefi, assured that proceeds recovered from the exercise will be put to judicious use for positive benefits.
Across the country, several properties belonging to the federal government of Nigeria have been abandoned, and others have been severely underutilized for many years. The federal government of Nigeria possesses a large stock of abandoned properties that could become viable assets for the benefit of the Nigerian people if managed properly. The House of Representatives have since resolved to help identify these assets and take legislative action to help ensure that they are either put to good use or transferred to provide income to the federal government of Nigeria. This ad hoc committee to investigate abandoned federal government properties across the Federation has convened today's investigative hearing to focus on such abandoned properties within the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The committee has the mandate of the Ninth House of Representatives to account for these investments and come up with plans to put these assets to good use in the interest of all our citizens.
Existence of abandoned government property valued in the hundreds of billions left to deteriorate should trouble all our consciences. These projects are a visual manifestation of the excesses and failure to plan effectively and execute efficiently that has hampered our national growth and development for many years. In seeking to account for these assets, the House of Representatives, through the ad hoc committee, is simply trying to rewrite the past wrongs. This is particularly important at this time when our nation is pressed by serious financial difficulties and in dire need of creative thinking out of the box approaches to financial management and the operations of public accounts and resources.
The overall aim of the investigation is to account for these investments and come up with a plan to put these assets to good use in the interests of all citizens. Annie T. Patrick, Core TV News, Abuja.